Welcome, Mountain Gamers and Gamettes, to this RGL.GG Invite Highlander match. It's Season 22, Week 5, and we're here for the season debut of CP Nadal right now on a match between China National TF2 team and Good News. I am Alto, joined by Zag to my side, Dolphin behind the camera as always. Zag, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Looking through this brand new map, this is my first time ever seeing it. The one texture is putting me off a bit, but it does look interesting. And, we've been waiting for new CP maps to come in the woodworks and give us a bit of a shake-up for a while. And I'm interested to see how this one plays out.
Yep, that I think is going to be the big thing. But before we get into the map, this match is going to be a fairly important one as far as seeding goes. As we've seen over the past few weeks, it's looking like Dumb Kids will be our number one seed, barring an upset on Nadal tonight against BBC. Likely have Sour Patch second, RR looking to come third, with fourth seed very much in the open, but China National is the kind of presumed favorites as those three teams really competing. China, Good News, and BBC. China's beaten BBC, BBC's beaten Good News, which now means that should Good News beat China, which we probably declare as an upset at this point, just given the transitive property, it now means you've got a bit of a rock, paper, scissors. Match points will probably be the determinant. Should China win, they pretty much got that fourth seed locked up. So lots to play for, but the map.
Yeah, shorthand of that, China wins tonight. They're basically a lock for playoffs, barring extreme circumstance. And for Good News, if they lose tonight, their season is pretty much over once that Week 8 rolls around. They're not going to be making playoffs at that point. But we do have rosters up on the screen for you guys. We'll go and run down them. On the side of China National, it's going to be MK on Scout, Fish on Soldier, Minty on Pyro, Zebra on Demo, Destron on Heavy, Hardhat Jones NG, Iku on Medic, Scourge on Sniper, and Boss on Spy.
Over on the side of Good News, it will be Dotwet on Scout, Davey C on Soldier, American Pyro, Squid Demo, Deleted Taters on Heavy, DT, the other DT, on Engineer, Cats on Medic, Whalemart on Sniper, and Flu on Spy.
Yeah, and we've seen both these teams on cast so far in the season. I'd say that China National has looked better, mostly because when I saw Good News, I was not impressed in the slightest. That Swiftwater game lives in my head as a very sad tale. But yeah, we are on a new map, Nadal, here tonight, so really anything can happen.
Yeah, and for those unfamiliar with the map, Nadal is a steel type map, meaning that in order to win, you have to cap the D point, and it is always open. You can attack it at any time. It might have to be pushing through some defenders to get there, but ultimately it is a threat you can always go for. That said, unlike Steel, this map only has 4 points. So best way to think about it is kind of like CP Steel, but the 8 point was removed, which means that, Steel B becomes Nadal A, C turns into B, D turns into C, etc. A couple other differences I'd say is that the C point on Nadal, which kind of analogs the D point on Steel, is going to be much more important. You'll see teams capping that a lot more often. And I think that a straight potential decap is something we've seen from teams. It can be a little bit difficult to coordinate your team to get back in there if there's enough of a setup. And while there is a pit surrounding the point, the point isn't entirely isolated around that pit. Like on Steel, you have some ground to play off of, so a little bit more forgiving in that respect.
Yeah, what I'm noticing flying around here, and I'm going to be talking as the novice who's not seen the map before, because I have not seen the map before, whereas I know that you've been scrimming on it, you know a lot more about it. I'm seeing a lot of verticality in a way that doesn't necessarily always interact with each other. I see a bunch of high-low tunnels and a bunch of different ways where people can move around through the map, which to me says that you'll see a lot of people making individual plays when they feel like they can do it. It's gonna be a very feel-heavy map.
That's a very solid read. I think what I've seen from scrims thus far is that this is probably the worst sniper map we've seen in rotation.
Oh, it definitely looks like it. I don't see a single place a sniper can stand.
There's some spots on A that can be decent. There's the long angle on the far side of B that gets some action. C as well up on top of the point, like on that little deck, and then D as well, should he just kind of stand behind D on the red side. It's a decent angle, but yeah, there's not a whole lot of ways you can wedge a sniper in there. which, correspondingly, I think frees up all of the other classes. And as you said, individual action's a big thing. I mean, was in main level advanced 2 scrims, I would say, but just botting around the map as a pyro was shockingly effective, because just the amount of corners and small spaces means that if one person can just kind of get a good flank off in the middle of a fight, you can see a really, really big impact from that.
Yeah, I feel like this one is going to be, well, as experimental as a first-time map is. The cast itself is going to be even more experimental. I have a feeling we're going to get thrown around here and there, everywhere throughout the night.
Ooh, and just for a couple of while we're on the reminders, as far as what happens when you cap each point. So if offense caps A, it closes the defense A spawn. It opens up both connectors from A to B, one on the lower ground, one on the upper ground. I think that might be kind of that upper tunnel you mentioned before, Zach. Capping B both shuts the B spawn, opens up some of the gates to C, and what it does is it closes the drop down in red spawn that leads directly onto D, which means that, it's a much longer rotate to get around. There's more opportunity to contest people should offense get someone up in heaven, makes just defending D a lot more difficult. And then finally, capping C is what raises the bridges onto point from both kind of the offensive side, and that connects over to the heaven area where you're usually going to see defense, hold in a pinch.
Now, you did mention to me in while we're leading up to the cast that you should. Like it's a very quick shorthand to think of the map as Steel without A, because on Steel A point, while there are some shenanigans that go on there, sometimes it typically is a give up point. So if we do think of this as Steel without A, like let's think of this as a 4-point capture map, right? What would you say? How would you compare the importance of the point caps compared to Steels from B through E, whereas here it's A through D? We'll just one that.
I would say it's much more important to cap. I think it's possible to see like a straight D cap, but more often than not, it's been in around the world. I think C is... So ultimately, right, when you think about a team kind of getting up in heaven, if I don't know how much Dolphin's camera angles are going to be able to help this, but on Steel, if a sniper gets up in the JFK window, that's kind of like defenses immediately has a lot of pressure on them, and there's not a lot they can do about that. Whereas there's no real equivalent position. So while I think defense wants to be holding in kind of the wishbone area in the center of the map, again, to kind of use the Steel terminology, that's the best. But if they just hold up in heaven, there's not a lot that can really force them out without the offense needing to wrap all the way around through C, go through the kind of back connector that kind of maybe parallels to Death Hallway, but is usually a lot safer, and then try to fight them in front of like their own spawn door. So in that sense, if you don't open up those bridges, suddenly it can be a lot more difficult to cap. Likewise, I think that while the B point here corresponds to C on Steel, the way that the map geometry works out means that if the defense is holding B, offense doesn't really have many ways to access a lot of the map, right? They're still forced to take things just through the A area due to how the map design is. So I think more often than not, you're going to see teams take A and B pretty much straight, unless they happen to get a lot of D pressure. C is the one that I see kind of go both ways, but I think, especially as teams are learning the map, capping it is usually the easier option than trying to find D without the bridges up.
I see, yeah. When I think about Steel as a CP map, what makes it such a good map for Highlander is that you have the constant pressure available onto E, and it's accessible. Like, the accessibility increases as the offense gets more power from both angles. So that even though the defense can like stabilize on C, choose to give it up, stabilize on E, no one really holds D that much on that map. But just the fact that you have like an ever increasing amount of pressure angles to work with onto this E point makes the map feel very dynamic. And with a new map like Nidal here, I mentioned that it feels like there's a lot of flanks, a lot of choke points where individual action can come in handy. I feel like it's going to be somewhat parallel but different in a way where on Steel you see a lot of like 2-3-man cells, right? Where like you have the lobby squad coming in Steel once B's capped and you're just able to make pressure that way. I wonder what teams are like, if teams have gone far enough with a map this new that they're gonna have like set strats like that. Like they're gonna say, oh, we have these classes that are gonna go through this hallway at this time.
I think we're getting there. I think it's pretty common to see, like, on offense, right? The blue combo heads out towards A, whereas you're gonna run a scout, soldier, engineer to kind of flank through the B area, take fights there, get into Wishbone, try to get a level 3 set up in that area to really kind of enable that D pressure, because in the same way on Steel, right, where if your flank's able to get behind, they can come in through Wishbone, collapse on the defense holding on B. Likewise, if, you know, blue decides to completely, or red gives up D completely, then the flank can push through coming from behind. It's not as powerful as an angle. The flank from D into A is coming up from a low ground rather than being on a high ground, which, you know, just naturally is going to put them at a little more risk, means you don't have as many options to fight. But even so, you know, should 9 people come collapse in on there are a couple people down, very easy to lose some key classes. So should be true. But I do think that maybe one of the differences with Steel is that I think that there's not as many angles into the point, as due to the fact that I think the map is just ultimately a little bit smaller. So those rewards you get for capping the point are kind of what you're relying on.
And what kind of times are we looking at through decaps here that we've been seeing?
I've been seeing some varying results. I think that at a certain point when we were testing this with players that had been really familiar with the map, you were seeing usually very quick times. I'd say kind of, sometimes it's even like quick as 3 to 5 minutes. And if you saw a 3-minute time, you'd be like, oh, that's not good. But if you saw a 5-minute time, you'd kind of be like, well, you know, we can still push that. That said, coming into scrims this weekend, I had one night of scrims in, we'll say, low mid invite, one night in like advanced 2. Both seem to be pretty consistent, sitting in the 7 to 9 minute times. But I've got a feeling that that's going to go down as people learn the map.
I see. 7 to 9 minutes is pretty respectably long for at least a map of this type, especially because, like, when I look around the map, it looks small from like a raw, like if you were to do a square footage of like the base map, it looks small from that regard. But again, it has a bunch of these like tunnels and a bunch of areas where people can like flank through. That makes it probably take more time to navigate. So yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out. I really, just as I'm looking through this map, it looks really chaotic.
I'd say that's probably fair. I mean, I think one other thing that kind of differentiates it is that with Steel, you see 5 points, but to me, the map has
3,
2.5, really. You know, you've got a solid B hold, you've got E, and then C to me counts as a half point. Because, like, realistically, the point, it's so difficult as a defense to defend C and E at the same time that offense can almost guarantee a C push if they play it, like, smart enough. You know, just to rotate, if they rotate in such a way that they take advantage of the longer rotates on defense. Nadal doesn't really have anything you can throw away. I mean, I think C's a point where it kind of plays like D on Steel, where you joint hold C and D at the same time, but you don't ever really give anything up. And further, if you look at the point geometry on C, the fact that you have that fence in the middle of it means that, like, it's very easy to have one person block a cap. So that defense is allowed to hold it a little bit longer. So you kind of got to commit really far. You know, we solidly win a fight to get C, but the rewards, again, appropriately big. But yeah, you do see a lot of flanking, a lot of people coming in. I mean, I think teams are going to be having different kind of strategies of what's best, too. And whenever those mismatch, you'll usually see some big action. But we are finally live here on Nadal.
Yep, it is going to be China National on red side, good news on blue. We'll see what kind of a time good news can push out here for their first official Nadal offense in RGL. I'm interested to see where they go. And we mentioned that D is open all the time, but teams fairly go around the world. In the scenarios where a team has to go, like, you know, really fast, are we like frequently able to see the straight to D caps, or are teams just always going to do around the world and try to push that one faster?
I mean, I think as teams have been getting used to it, you see it a little bit less, but in the sense of if everyone comes in through B to Wishbone, NG will usually get the gun set up on kind of that little wooden deck area. You put a telly up, and then if you get a couple people on offense into Heaven, then suddenly there's not a whole lot of ways they can really fight it. You get a lot of cap time, and offense needs to really commit to a long rotate, potentially get over there, in which case if they do, A is probably going to be free.
Squid, first death of Nadal, going to be taken down by Scourge in that aggressive sniper angle. I see that there's a lot of players holding in this high ground, going to be Astron and Fish holding that with the Soldier Heavy. There's a sentry gun back here on this little box. Looks like the B forward spawn for the offense, and now it's going to be, looks like Good News trying to push out through their right side spawn here, group up all their people, and they look like they want to take an exchange quickly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people having flanked through. They're not even going for the D pressure. They're just sending everyone behind. Already looking to play from that low ground. They're going to be forced back, and a lot of flanking going on over there as the Uber comes out onto A. Squid getting blasted back into the carpet room by the Pyro. No real presence going to be gained with that. I think they were hoping that the flankers could get some way in here, but nothing to be found. Flew in position though.
Yeah, they're getting angled now. The Heavy has the flank in, but they're losing a ton of people on the front line. Pretty much everyone going to drop here for Good News, trying to only losing Scourge in the meantime, and that's basically a full wipe. And yeah, the pressure coming in from the flankers was a bit, it wasn't mistimed per se, it was delayed. The flank classes of China National did a really good job delaying the flankers so that the Uber expired by the time they could even get crowned.
Yeah, and plus, you're sending 4 people up from a low ground and somewhat of a choke. Like, having a Heavy and 4 people walk through there means that if the defense ever just gets to look at you, you're going to be in a really bad spot. It felt like Flu wasn't in position to get the gun down. The blue combo couldn't walk out of the carpet room, and therefore, like, there was no real safe time for anyone to walk in the way that they wanted, but it looks like they're going to try again.
Yeah, and they did pick off the scout this time and force that spy all the way back. They might find that pick if they're lucky, but going to get into the spawn door. In the meantime, Destrong gets backstabbed by Flu, so there's now a lot of advantage for Good News here. But the banner popped out is big from Fish here. No one can get headshots, so they're perfectly fine just running it up, trying to get all the kills they can, and they will get the cleanup. Gonna get so many. They're only gonna lose Fish and Scourge, but they are getting a bit fired back onto here. It's a 3v5. Defense still holding for now, but you gotta imagine the offense with those spawns are gonna be able to get back out here soon.
Yeah, it looked like they had a lot going in their favor, but I think Squid going down is when the tides there started to turn. No demo walking out just means you lose a lot of that area denied. They're able to just kind of scrap in and stay there on the side of China National. The time now is really starting to pick up.
Yeah, early Uber here. It's going to be over for Blue in just a second, and they're getting popped up. Cat's barely getting out alive for now. Pyro not going to be able to get that chase out. In the back lines, there is a Flu, though. Trying to find a decloak, caught out, though. Not going to get anything. Scourge doubling up. Wilmart and DT going down, and Fish doubles up as well. Soldier trying to come in to get whatever he can, but just going to go down. And still China National holding strong here. They're not letting Good News get the foot in the door.
And I feel like they're playing this, like, too much of a direct carbon copy of Steel. Or on Steel, if you get 3 people coming in behind from, you know, E onto B, you're set. But it's not that simple here.
They're hard committing their combo to the D here. They're going for the straight decap.
Yep. I like to see that.
Called out early though by Boss here, so there should be decent rotation coming in just a second from China National here. They have MK in the drop down, looking to get some sights, but will get taken down, and that's going to be a lot of space afforded to Good News here. And they have stickies on this walk down area, so
but they're all coming through the spawn though. They have the drop down. They're clearing that out. Pyro coming in. Or deleted Tatum.
They need stickies on this now. Squid has to get in there and get some damage, but Squid is way too late. Will pick off a Minty in the end, but here comes an Uber charge out from China National, and this shiny Devil Man is just impossible to deal with from this high ground for now. They will get their Uber in exchange and try to jump up. Davey going for a huge play. If he can take the space to be big, but he dies. In the meantime, they're going to try to get back on this cap, but now seeing a bit of space in the back end. Deston gets collapsed on, taken down, as does Fish, and now Good News have another foot in the door here.
Yeah, but they're kind of getting sandwiched right now. The gun from Hardhat's still up on the A point. If they're able to get that down, they can rotate in pretty quickly.
Squid needs to just do damage here. Squid has to lob these stickies up and try. Minty's doing a good job reflecting, keep them healthy. Flu gets that Deadbringer popped, and now we see Zebra here trying to lob some stickies to stall this cap. ET will get taken down with one more, but alive for now, and the commit is still hitting Good News. They don't want to stop that, and that's a huge shot from Whalmart. Yeah, that one should pretty much be it, honestly. If you think about it, because no one can get this point off. If they have a Pyro right click, it's over.
Yeah, like Pyro's down. Maybe try to move the gun at this point.
American dying there is crucial. If American doesn't die there, it's over. And the shininess is in. Uber's exchanged on the point, trying their best. A ton of players dying, but it looks like Good News have Manad. Drop down players coming from China to try to stall this. They do get a couple. Boss with a 2K stab. Level 3 now in here from Barbat, and it's going to be just barely defending the point.
Yeah, a little bit late from Hard Hat rotating that in, honestly, but finally brings the gun over, and I think it really stalled a lot of it. That said, going to be getting sapped. These spawns are so much faster coming in right now for good news. Fish, though, able to get DT down. No one capping right now, slowly going back is the time.
They're going to get mulched here. They're completely sandwiched. They can't do this. Good news. Maybe A rotate back? They can't keep pushing this. They have no space to work with anymore. Wilmar's just going to die, yeah. They're just desperate. Oh, but Seaver's in the pit. Maybe they can get out here.
Maybe it's just now they're fighting a war on two fronts right now.
They really need Squid. Where's Squid?
He just tellied back in right now, so this fight continues, but they've lost more than half the cap time off this point. They're still just tunneling onto D so hard. I mean, someone's got to call. Oh, Boss just jumps in.
You gotta imagine A must be free soon, right? Like there's a single dispenser on A. Mission ends in 10 seconds, by the way. They gotta get cap time on A, otherwise it's over. They are gonna finally get their first cap time on A for the entire round. Look at this though, they're trying to kill Davey. If they kill Davey, it ends.
Yeah, I mean, Flu's nearby, so he'll be able to keep it up. They've got cap time on both points. So long as there's cap time on one of these, the overtime will not end.
Not anymore, though.
But the Uber popped out onto A.
It's over.
That's going to be a full hard hold here coming out from China National. I mean, we mentioned that Good News as a team had not looked too good coming into the point on this season, and despite, I'd say, getting enough kills that you'd think would justify at least one of these 2 points, just, I think, tunneled way too hard onto D.
Once they baited all the rotation, once the NG moves his gun in and all the rotations are baited in, you have to imagine that the spawners should be going to A. Like, imagine if instead of waiting for the TP, Squid and all the respawners just stickied off the walk back up onto A. They just get A.
Yeah,
that's like a main call. That's just a main call thing where you have to decide, hey, D, like, we got what we needed from D. And I can't understate the fact that they actually get that cap if American doesn't get balled in the head. American got balled by the scout bat, the rap assassin, and died on the point right before the Uber came out, and he couldn't air blast them off it. That's just unlucky.
I mean, yeah, but it's more than that one play, though. Right? I think they misplayed, they overestimated what their flank coming in from D would be able to do. They spent too long just trying to shove it in A without sending enough, people really be a threat on D. Then once they did go D, tunneled too hard on that, didn't send anyone back in. It was just hard having the gun for the longest time. All it takes is one soldier spy combo. He's out there and the A cap is free, and you're still, attacking.
Yep. And so now for China National, they just got to cap any point here, any point. A, D, no matter what. If they cap a point, they're up 1-0. So we'll see if they can get that one through. Already have the Uber exchange coming out. Spy trying to get the Sapper, but doesn't get it in time. A lot of players going for the sacks, and they will get the kills.
But Cats is dead.
Yeah, that's a sack everyone for the medic type play, but when you only need 1 point, that's pretty much all you need, because now Iku going to be able to build this Uber and get full advantage.
Yeah, I mean, looking like it's going to be about 25% in Iku's favor right now, which means that I'm interested to see if we get any D pressure at all, or if they're just going to keep trying to 9-man it in A, because I feel like that could be a way that you manage to hard hold this right back.
Yeah, we'll see. In the meantime, they're trying to build the super faster, and that advantage has grown to about 30-35-ish%. So Iku and Ko gonna just get that Uber, try to go in. Daston will get picked in the downtime by Flu with the spawn camp. Does go down, though. I'm not sure if that's worth it. Daston's gonna be up much faster and in position. Davey dead as well is pretty big, because that means no banner for the defense when they're already down Uber. This build has gone so fast, by the way. They already have.
Yep, yeah, they've really escalated that up. They're gonna come in with the pyro right now.
It should be done.
Sap's in, gun is dead.
It sticks on the shutter, it sticks on the door, it should be over.
But yeah, Cats is only at 70. They built this so quickly. Cats has not been building well. They're gonna find some kills onto the defense right now, and I think this cap, the level 3 from Hard Hat is the nail in the coffin. Will get wrangled down, but not enough. And I think the Chinese century zag is dawning on us right now, and it starts on CP Nadal.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a really fundamentally well-played offense by China. I mean, it's simple, right? If you think about it, like, we have 9 minutes cap 1 point, but the whole, like, trade Ubers, 9-man sack on the enemy medic, hyper build your own Uber, and just cap A. It's very simple, and they, did it exactly as they needed to, taking that first round.
Yeah, I think sacks are something that I've seen have been pretty effective on A, especially if meds aren't playing really far back. Just the combination of kind of the way the carpet room angles out into point, plus any jumping classes coming out of the window means you have a lot of reach. And a med's often going to have to play really far back, either almost, kiting into D, or really back in that kind of valley area. It looks open for us right now that connects over to B, but that gate is closed in the beginning to really avoid those sacks. And, you do that, that's all you really need when you only need to cap 1 point, because as good as the offense was, really, it was the defense why they were there.
Yeah. And 1-0 lead for China, and I'm going to be honest, Good News looked dead in the water. I'm going to be interested to see the side swap, because I want to see the map actually get pushed through, all the way for once. At least before, it goes in the vault for the rest of the season, because I don't think a team is playing this in playoffs.
You'd be surprised. Might find a way to sneak in there. I mean, really, when I look at the frags from that round, it was 55 kills in favor of China, 33 for Good News. That 33 kills in a round should get you 1 point.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we went over it pretty, not extensively, but it makes complete sense what happened to Good News on their offense there, where they just kind of chose their plan, stuck to their guns, and they rode it until it either exploded or they got the point and they exploded, so.
Yeah, it is not an individual skill issue here. It is a team cohesion issue. That was rough to watch. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I get it. You're struggling pushing A. You send everyone D. Seems good. You might get it, but you don't. And then the inability to just give up on that and say, let's take the free open A point until it's too late is tough.
Yeah, and I saw a comment in the chat that I wanted to address, that someone's like, you can't call it the main caller when no one went A, but it's like, you play to what the team wants to do, right? If the call is to keep running B, you're throwing if you don't run B. Even if it's a bad idea, you shouldn't be the one of the 9 players not running B. If no one says, hey guys, this is a bad idea, if none of the people you trust to call you out of it does it, well then that's a different issue.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, it's on it's on either the main caller or someone, kind of related
someone
to
who
them
has
that
co-main calling duty. It's Highlander, and one person not going to do all of the main calling, right? If one of your people who you trust to make the decisions in your gameplay isn't saying hey, change it up, if you do change it up and you're not the person who's saying to do it, you're throwing.
Yeah, but at that point you can say, hey, we only have a minute left, why don't we just go A? You don't need to be a main caller for an engineer to say that, and then...
Sure, anyone can do it.
I mean, if your main caller shuts it down, then...
At the same time, with what I've seen from China throughout the season, I would not be surprised if after their 6th minute of slamming their head into D without success... Good news, my bad. From what I've seen of Good News, I would not be surprised if after 6 minutes of slamming their head into D over and over again, their mumble comms were silent,
Remains to be seen. But yeah, I mean, I'd really say at this point China are 1/2 away from securing themselves what's likely going to be the 4th seed in playoffs. I'm checking, and they actually haven't played RR yet either, so they've got they've got Good News this week, they've got Warabi next, and then RR in that final week, so that could be the fight for 3 versus 4 seed should it come down to it.
Yeah, the thing is, how important do you think that is compared to normally? Because normally, right, for the 4th seed gets a headshot in the first round of playoffs by having to face the definitive 1 seed in Highlander, but 1 and 2 are pretty close this time, so I think either way they're in for a hard match.
That's a fair point, and I mean, if you think about it, if both teams would theoretically then come into that week with the same amount of wins, assuming that Dumb Kids remain the 1st seed and Sour Patch remain 2nd, it'll be interesting to see if anyone takes it into their own hands to ensure they get the team that they want to play. Because I think you could make the argument that you'd rather be 4th seed there and play Dumb Kids than Sour Patch, I think.
When we get the playoff seeding update where 1st seed gets to choose whether they play 3 or 4.
Yeah, that would add so much. Imagine picking a team to play and then losing. Oh, the amount of drama that would cause would be so delicious.
Could not be KT Rolster.
the League of Legends reference for those of you wondering what Zach just said. But
They
I mean,
started
yeah.
the timeline. The timeline was fucked from that moment on. But yeah, we are just waiting on the teams to ready up here, going into our second half of Nadal. First one, it was both short and long in a number of ways, if you think about it.
Certainly memorable.
Yeah.
Probably the best way to say that. I think, though, the fact that we still haven't seen really the ready ups come through tells me that Good News hasn't, fully kicked the bucket. Because I think if they were fully mentally checked, you'd see the insta ready. But we're getting word from Dolphin just under 60 seconds, so we should be live momentarily. Zag, do you think Good News has it in them to take a halfback?
No. I think they're going to hit the pick me whatever and let's lose in peace here. But I do want to see if they can... Okay, so you mentioned that like a 7-minute time is like on the fast side of like average for this so far. I want to see if they can at least have enough, I guess, because they kind of got rolled off of A on offense, or when they were playing their defense, they got rolled off of A once they didn't have that Uber. And I want to see if they can like hold any of the other points, because there's a lot of things where, there's a lot of times where like a team on defense can like, if they find defense easier on a certain point, they can like dig in their heels and make a winnable round out of it. It's the type of thing where when you're playing offense and you know what time you have to beat, it kind of gets easier to visualize what you have to do to win, right? So if they can like lock in a 6-minute defense time or something, give themselves a chance, like I think that's their best shot. I do think in that regard, seeing them on defense first is definitely a better look. So we'll see what they can do with it.
Yeah, and now that you don't need to just get the A cap right, we might see something different from China National, where they may be sending more people to D, because they just straight up ran 9 people into A over and over again, because they knew they just needed a cap at any point. Whereas now, once you're concerned about how long it's going to take, maybe it's better if you start sending people behind. But we'll see. Gates are about to open.
Yep, we'll see what China can do on this fresh round of offense. They had a very easy put in at the end of last round, so with the sheet clean, I want to see what they can get going here. We already see MK going back in just a solo scout mission to try and see what's holding on to behind, and it's going to be a 1v1 with Dotwet for now. The Walrus going to be calling him out as well. In the meantime, the rest of the offense going to be moving into carpet here. See what they can do with this Uber exchange. Sniper Dot on the wall, but they get the Uber popped out in time.
Yep, MK starting to get some time as the exchange goes on. Not really going to find too much. I think just traded. Yeah, MK in the 2v1 finds a kill onto Dotwet. Will go down eventually. DT catching Boss out as well. Gun will be saved, but Wilmart, Taters, and Squid all going down. It is just DT right now and his gun, it feels like, with American for support.
Oh, look at this. Hard Hat has his gun, though. And
yeah,
no one can contest this gun.
Yeah,
but Minty can just stand on the corner of this point, and no one can actually run out to kill him. So that's just going to be an easy cap coming in for China here. This level 3 from DT doesn't actually do anything because he can't see the point. Sapper finally goes to the hard hats and gets a kill into Minty, but point nearly capped out. There is a re-push coming out of the high ground from Taters, and Taters gets the 3K. One should clean up on the point, and it looks like Good News can rush out here and get the defense in time.
Yeah, really big. Part of the thing is with the way this point is set up, right? Defense has 3 ways to come back out to it. Either the close way up onto the little ledge, or down in from the valley, so able to just come and get everything, just spread out, focus fire everyone onto point, and they still manage to hold it. So good. The good news is signs of life from Good News.
Yeah, Boss has a decloak here, looking for a sniper pick, but gonna get melted. In the meantime, high bomb onto Cats, 2 rockets from the fish, hits that insta drop, and that's going to be a flood in from the rest of China National. They did lose a couple players on this, what seems to be just a glorified sack play with Fish getting the big exclamation point. So they will back up and rebuild for a second, but that play is going to get them a real easy first here if they can repeat what they did last round.
Oh, that bomb was grody. He just came right in with the 2 rocket coming in. They're searching for Boss right now, and I think they're going to catch him, find the knife. He will be going down shortly, so that gun's still alive. As you mentioned, it doesn't cover the point, but it provides so much cover to the rest of the defense. It makes it so hard for offense to get aggressive, really take pressure. And
oh, that's a skybox Zebra. Good flash. Really good flash to save him. the meantime, Stickies go down onto the gun. Davey C and American will drop, and so will DT's gun after just a little bit of more damage. Squid doing his best to pump up some damage, as is Taters, but Taters doesn't. He gets his 6k, but no more after that. Spawns in favor of China National here. They're trying to get people out of the window. Big backstab onto Whalemar. It's going to buy them some angles here. Don't have to worry about that sniper, and Boss stays alive to boot. So DT going to try and rebuild this gun for now. Squid putting some Stickies up on the point, but you know, we've seen good news. They've done a lot better than we thought they would, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that was a full Uber ad push, and they even had some kills coming into it, and they weren't able to get it. But now China running their full combo into D right now. MK getting the point started up. Everyone else coming in level 3 from hard half.
It wasn't called very quickly because Daston's already here, close in the corner. They have Stickies going towards the drop down. It's up to Squid here to get some angles, and Wellmark with a big kill onto that Pyro means that being stuffed through Air Blast is no longer a concern. Taters and Davey drop down squad, taking down Fish, and the Ubers pop down the corner. Air Blast gonna put the heavy into the pit. American does that right click, and everyone else just stuck in main for China National. And the thing is, they don't even have much ground on A to work with. They didn't get much here. They do have a tele exit, so it looks like they want to commit.
Yeah, just got to be careful, see if anyone's going to decide to actually come A or not if he is alone on it. It's a little bit risky right now if you don't have your gun.
Daston takes the tele, and Dawa gets sniped right before he can take it down, so the tele's still up. They can still commit to this, and there's a level 2 sentry for Hardhat. Tele gets healed, and another headshot from Scourge onto that Demo Man. That's crucial. They can start capping up now.
But look, Taters and Whalemart have rotated all the way around through D, and the second they see that, China combo, which just pushes into A from the backside. They're going to get a full wipe onto American and Cap, and that's going to be an easy A cap, and that little move right there is exactly what Good News was missing from their big book of plays.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. You force a ton of pressure, though those 2 headshots from Scourge forces the rotations out of the support classes for Good News, and they're just stuck. They're split between a rock and a hard place, and they get rocked in the head by the sticky bomb. So with that, we get to see B for the first time.
Oh, almost had a debt drop or a sticky trap onto Eku, but they will use their Uber to just bully their way in here.
Cat's dead again.
Yep, big bomb out of Fish. Deleted Tater's going to try his best, but with a no med will go down sooner rather than later. Dotwood going to assassinate Destron off to the side, but not enough to stop the B cap, and even better, Eku doesn't have to use Uber.
Yep, and with Cats going down, full ad here for China National. Going to look to keep snowballing this. That's an 8x on the B point, so that one gets capped up real quick. And they're going to be looking to go through this D connector, trying to get in. Looks like they are going to... They haven't decided to go C or D yet. Looks like they're just kind of waiting around for that gate to rise. And yeah, they're going to hit onto the C point. That's a slow-moving gate.
Yep, slowly opening from the bottom, meaning snipers can look through before it's open. Cap time getting stacked up onto C. And with Cats only at 40, they're not going to be able to contest that either. It's going to be all the points coming in and around the world as bridges will go up on this.
They're already Ubering into D here, trying to get these people in the spawn shutter, and they do pick up Davey. Flash onto the Demo Man, going to keep him alive for now. Sentry Gun does stand in the way, and will stop Uber for now in the end with that Wrangler. So Squid rotates in, tries to throw some stickies, but looks like that's all China National wanted from here. They're just going to leave Daston and then all go main.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that was a little bit of a waste of an Uber, truthfully. You know, we have a pause.
All right, minute and a half in the future. It doesn't tell us much about when the pause actually comes, so pretty
this
open-ended.
is a map where entirely possible they cap in a minute and a half from now, but you know, if you're sitting with Uber disad, a lot of things would need to happen for you to cap a minute and a half out from here. So I think, yeah, Good News really coming kind of back alive here. You know, got such a long hold on A that even though they lose B and C this quickly, you're still looking at, you know, about a 6-minute time right now. Going to be at least a minute you figure you need for D. You're looking 7 minutes and you're approaching average.
We've got news from Dolphin. This pause is a tactical out of Good News. So one of two things, they either lose it in 90 seconds or they have it 90 seconds later, but like they drop med or something and they need to find a way to extend the hold.
Makes me think that they end up getting capped, truthfully, which will be interesting to see what sequence of events leads to that happening, given that Cats has Uber advantage. But not for us to know. I mean...
Hey, question. This little grate on drop down, tell me Splash doesn't go through that.
It doesn't.
Thank God.
You mean the one where the dispenser is?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That, oh, God.
I see
that
a
would
grate,
be rough.
I see a grate like that, and I just have like PTSD flashbacks of maps where it does do that.
Yeah, definitely can't blame you for wanting to check that. I mean, I'm glad we're getting to see a little bit more of the map, although unfortunately I do feel like we didn't really get to see B and C fight out at all. Because I think B is a point to me that is very fightable, and you usually get you can see some interesting rotations, some interesting play around the back area of the point, some interesting using of Wishbone and potentially offense, coming in through A to D into Wishbone to get another angle in. But really just snowballed well by China National. So remains to be seen if we're going to get a hold there for the rest of this match. But D is really the issue now. I'm interested. Whalemart's a little out
I was gonna say,
on D.
what do you think the odds are that like he eats a rocket while jumping and just flies into the pit?
I mean, Fish has only just spotted him, so he'd have to line that up, and
This crossing looks close.
We'll
Aim
see.
up a little bit. It's possible.
I'm not convinced. I know
Yeah.
Techie was going back and forth on that little the little fence behind the point, whether or not that should be there or not.
Oh, and unpause is through. Oh, he went for the sniper immediately to Fish. He saw that as fast as we did. Immediately gets the kill onto Whalemart. So with that sniper dead, they're going to try to get a bit more forward pressure onto the point. But Dastan caught in his flank, and Zebra stabbed out means that there's not really much combo presence left from China National. They got a Pyro, they got a Scout, so they'll try their best that one. But the level 3 sentry gun from DT is brutal. Not going to let them get any cap time.
Yeah, and now, this is one of the more interesting parts of the map, because to me, I feel like the Heaven hold on Nidal is significantly stronger than that it is in Steel, just because there's no Sniper Silent that can really force you out, which means that, from what I've seen in scrims, and this is, anecdotal experience, the easiest way to do this is you gotta get an Uber going behind.
Boss on Whalemart here. It should be a stab, but gets knife melted just in time. He'll be saving his sniper is American. And that will be Whalemart left for now. But Uber coming into this drop down. Oh, but there's a Pyro in the pit immediately. Minty not able to get out in time, and they're just caught in behind. Fish is dead. Demo Man caught out here. We'll get out for now, but a lot of damage being taken. Flu revolvers down that sniper in the back line, and they still don't have much area. Flu's gonna double up with that butter knife onto MK, and stays alive too. Level 2 sentry gun in main will get taken down by Squid. Squid peeking out, and DT's gun is still alive and threatening. Flew with another stab. That's 3 kills on this defense here to give his team a lot of space to work with.
Flu will manage to escape with his life as well, yeah. And at this point, right, I think Dastron's already cooped up in
Oh, so that was the
Safari.
pause, by the way. That's a really... So, Tac, where they were already, like, winning. We thought the round would be over by now in all likelihood, but... Good news, still holding strong. Dastan out here in the flank, and this flank is one of the ways that I could see a team trying to get in here. Davey is actually looking for him, but won't find him for now. Yeah, it looks like just trying to build Uber, and now is Iku and Co. China National going to wait outside of main here to see if they can make a push work, but this sentry gun from DT's not even gone down yet. 2 entry picks, though, that's a lot to work with.
Yeah, Donwood and Flu. Flu being the big one. If you kill the spy, you gotta go for the rotate now. Try to get that long Uber and track them out.
Wait, they just pop in main.
Clearly miscommunication on this Uber.
They didn't want to do it. Yeah, they decided to walk back, but they popped in the meantime anyway. So China National kind of let the drag here. The Uber accomplishes literally nothing as they have to just get herded back. It does get the Uber out of good news though, just kind of popped because the enemy popped. And while Whalemart losing the SBS means that Scourge has a lot of space to work with here. Could be a dangerous angle.
Yep, Flu though finds Destron likely behind. Fish gonna go down as well. Boss and MK next, looking to try to get in there from behind.
This level 3 sentry gun needs to get taken down somehow. It's such a menace with this Wrangler onto the point. They can't get any cap time at all. It needs a sapper, it needs rockets, it needs something.
Yeah, I mean, they're slowly edging it, but slowly is the operative word. Flu coming in will get caught out. Both spies going down, and yes, as long as that gun is up and passive, so difficult to cap this.
Yeah, that gun angle's really disgusting, and DT's keeping it alive so well. They are going to get finally onto the edge, barely capping it up, tippy toes on the edge of that hexagon. That's only 6 sides. That's either way, it's going to be Whalemart doubling up here. 2 kills onto the cappers, and now they're trying to flood onto it, but here's the defensive Uber from Good News, seeing where they can get this cap stopped.
Yeah, they're gonna find Whalemart again, so no sniper, but they don't really need the sniper with the gun being up. Flu going over to the Enforcer should hopefully give an idea over to Ball. But Fish coming in, finds American and split
Flu
up.
Doubles up onto Minty and Scourge, but their level 3 gun gets replaced by DT, can't go up at the same time, and it's just Dotwet here, the only one who can really stop it. Davy's gonna jump onto the point. Big Rocket spreads everyone out, but only gets 1 kill. Tater's on a 6k with so many clean-up kills. There's a 7k doming boss, and Tater's gonna stand tall on the point once again, making it so they don't cap just yet, but it looks like offense has so many good spawns here. This one's probably inevitable.
Yep, Fish jumping, just gonna get air blasted off to the side. That gun thing finally gonna go down. Enough people on the point. Wilmark wins the SBS onto Scourge.
Tater's gonna kill them all again. Some bombs, some rockets coming in and do a lot of damage, but they haven't actually gotten the cap yet, and China's being stalled so hard here. They are finally gonna get this cap with a 5x, but Uber's in. It comes in just in time. Here's Dogwet to stall it. They're gonna get MK, Dustron, and Hard Hat. Level 1 gun goes down as well, so the offense, once this Uber expires, they got nothing. They got the pit.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a little bit torn right here because I'm looking at chat, I'm looking at this. People aren't a fan of this right now. I'm not happy with how little combo pressure you're seeing from behind. I don't think you can just ram your demo in at this low ground with the pit behind him over and over again.
I need to see. I've obviously like not seen the map at all up to this point, and I need to see more about like the angles about they're being played. I don't think it's a bad angle for the Dome Man to spam up into this window, but that sentry gun playing passively is so hard to deal with. I feel like at some point you have to have a strategy to deal with it because it's just getting so much value. Is there no enforcer angles? Is there a way of spiking at a sapper on it? Like anything, DH, something.
I mean, I think where the gun is now, it could be enforcer. Where DT had it before was a little bit further back even. And that would be hard to get. I mean, at any point, like, you can't just take a fight head on. The offense, you're not going to win that when they got advantageous positioning. Finally, they've managed to cross the point, come in. They're starting to get presence in here right now. The guns go down, but the kill's coming in favor of Good News.
Tater's on a 9k, looking for his 10k. Sniper peeking out, going to do damage to get the kill into Minty. Zebra's dead, Minty's dead, Iku's dead. They are all dead, and yeah, this is not working for China National.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing we saw out of Good News, right? They Good News overly focused on getting D when they needed to, get A. Here it feels to me like China's overly focused on trying to push from Wishbone.
I will say,
going behind is an option.
I'm looking at this flank, and it feels like it's really hard for the offense to actually do much there. Because you're coming from a low ground into a tiny choke. If a scout just sees you, you just move your demo man 2 feet back. Look, they're going to do it. See, they're trying it now. Squid is already in place to sticky it up. Oh, but wait, they have comms on this. Go. Yeah, Squid's looking at it. Davey C has full comms on them.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing, though, is they're sending enough people here. Fish is already goes a little bit too early and goes, you don't have Uber, so you can't walk up.
Dawet's behind them. Tater's is in the spawn shutter. This spawn shutter is gross, by the way. How are you supposed to deal with that?
Here, the Uber comes out. I mean, they're already down players, but they're going to find the gun already. No kills. And they're also not getting any pressure in from the front. It's kind of the purpose of it, right? If they're going to sit 9 people in heaven and not control a lot of space, to get people coming in from multiple angles, so if you just decide to send all 9 people from behind, you run into the same issue.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. I feel like Demo Man through main, you have to, because he actually has a good angle in main to play from. Like Pyro and Soldier through the back. I feel like Demo Man through the back is not good because you're just playing a losing spam war. As the Demo Man who has to push into the sticky bombs.
Potentially. I mean, again, you still need to get that split pressure because they're opening themselves to it. Whalemart will go down right here, so they're able to flood in. Boss
they finally got a sapper on it.
The gun goes down. Cap time coming, but they're already down 2 players. Fish thankfully already back on the spawn. They're gonna get the gun again. Flute picks off Hardhat. Hardhat's gun is dead. Kills going
on a
over.
7k. So much damage. Davey comes in, hits a couple good rockets. Scourge and Zebra going down, and the timer's counting down. Uber popped out from Good News here, and it looks like they're gonna get their full hold on last.
Yeah. So two, hard holds at some point. One a little bit harder than the other. I mean, admittedly, I'm looking. Zach, and if I'm flying around in heaven right now, that grate you mentioned before, the fact that there's a little nook there, like a wall in front of it, that wall to me feels like it could go.
Well, like the little protrusion that lets you hide in it.
Yeah, exactly.
It could go. At the same time, I really do think that that's an advantageous angle for the blue demo man. The only issue is like you can get sniped from the walk up on the far right side. But if you have sniper pick or you have your own sniper pressuring from the other side and you walk in main, right? It's a really good angle.
Yeah,
because you can't actually be shot as blue demo man there in main. Maybe we need to see some loose cannon bounce the cannonballs off the wall, off the back wall into the corner. That'd probably do a lot of damage.
I'm looking at it, I feel like I guess. Yeah, no, you can get a little bit of an angle in there, and we were seeing that. But again, if you don't have pressure from multiple directions, it's so easy for the defense to just only focus on one direction.
I think what we're seeing is just a new map, and teams need to figure out how to play it, and it's just not been enough time, right? Because it comes to the season, I'm sure they've like pugged it, they've scrimmed it a bit, but like you're scrimming every other map the rest of the season. You've scrimmed this map for a couple days at this point. Most teams, as like their full team, they've scrimmed a new map for a few days.
Yeah,
and look at this. Good news. Say they want the knockout punch. They're just going straight D. They said A was too hard, go D.
Interesting, they don't have any guns on it right now, which is usually what you'd see to help this. The full combo coming around the long way, not even choosing to go through the drop. Davy's gonna see it and call it though.
Wait, just rotate back up. Yeah, just go back up the stairs. I actually really like this.
They're even gonna use the gun.
His gun immediately. I really like that.
I'm not a fan of the Uber though, actually. Because now Eku's got full ad, they're going to use right back in, and
American was in such a good spot, though. American was in such a good spot to deny that. They're going to try and retreat and kite this one out. There's a soldier chasing. Davey, or Fish, can't get the last rockets, and he will not get that kill onto the medic. In the meantime, a couple of cleanup kills going in favor of China National, but that does net an advantage until Cats dies. I really like that play. You get an Uber ad that you can work with, and then they walked back out down 4. So I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to use to kill a single NG in his gun.
I don't mind it because you can try to kill other things around and you don't have perfect info to play with. Like, getting the Uber trade up has been very valuable on this point, and they had it. Like I said, I was a fan of that play until they walked out with 5 alive and lost their medic.
Yeah, no, I mean, they definitely bungled the end of that. And granted, with the way we've seen this going, you know, just because you don't cap last doesn't mean the game's over.
Yeah, I mean, 4 minutes to get a single cap. Remember, they don't actually get their full cap time if they can't get a single point here. They have 4 minutes to get a capture, which is something they did not do last round.
That is true. To see if they can get their first one. There's level 3 up in wood now, though. That's going to make things a lot more difficult.
And it doesn't actually seem useful,
look, the gun sap, and they move right into A. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yep, now they gotta contend with the Uber back in because they're at disad. It gets up very early from China National here, though. Gonna try to rush out onto the point. Again, kiting out is good news here. They get their medic out alive. They don't lose any players. So if this comes to Iku, Whalemark doubling up onto 2 crucial classes. Fish tries to salvage what he can, but not gonna be able to get much, and that's gonna be eventually good news, actually getting their first capture of the entire game.
Well, let's see, we're about halfway there.
Yeah, they got
Trying to imagine how Boss can get a 7k stab right now to prevent this from happening. But, no, they...
At least you can say you didn't get shut out on the new map, you know?
It will come through for good news. And Combo's already... They're moving in through Wishbone, actually, which is interesting. Means they're going to come in at a little bit of an angle into B. Taters, I thought he was looking at maybe going the back way. They're actually going to back up.
They're going to be careful getting sandwiched here. If the enemy team knows what they're doing, and yeah, they're just going to back up onto D and see if they can get some more pressure. They do get hard hat set up, so there is a lot of space to work with. With Boss going down and Tater set up here, there is merit to this one.
If Red's going to come right in through Wishbone. Taters, though, not getting any beat, will go down. I think he was hoping for an hour or something. Didn't get. They trade out with Fish, but ultimately they're looking for D pressure. No one's on. The gun coming up, Davey, no!
Okay, they have Uber, and they're going to look to run into B through Wishbone here, and they have actually a medic pick. Iku caught out. We'll lose his Pyro. Minty going to give up their life to save the medic.
Yeah, I mean, as you will as a Pyro, basically what your purpose is, but it's enough that they're able to get presence on to B. And
they don't have to pop Uber either. They will have to do here, though.
Yep, exchange coming out right now. Players scattering back and forth, but there's so many people coming around from the back way.
Oh, they're gonna get sandwiched.
Maybe gonna get picked off. Yeah, the sandwich is finishing coming in, but Taters finds Scourge lacking, gonna get Dastron next. Big turn up in the back.
That was a one-man army heavy on the right side, and Taters has honestly been MVP for good news for most of this match. That stand alone, left in the post, gets all the cleanup kills, and that's gonna get the B cap.
Plays that perfectly, gets all the bodies he needs. They're gonna find the B cap, and now it means that if they get C in the next minute or so, they win right out of the way. You don't even need to worry about capping B if you can get C fast enough. They're trying to come in through the long way through Wishbone. I think looks like they're giving it up. Now they're moving in. You gotta try to get D pressure. That drop down is close.
Wait, Squid just fell into the pit. That's really bad because now the sentry gun cannot get hit by anything.
And flew fed over a saw, so it's ad.
Yeah, that's not looking good. Davey tries his best to go in and get that engineer kill so the sentry gun doesn't terrorize them. They actually are getting this edge cap just a little bit, and it will force the Uber out. That's what they wanted. They need to get the cats out of dodge, and they will do that. So you're not too upset about that if you are good news. And they're just going to pop their Uber out immediately to see what they can get.
Davey will...
Fish.
Again, that's
I feel like Davey's been hit like 4 times. Yeah, but the level 3 gun is the issue here. They're gonna get on the edge, and Squid finally launched those stickies. Yep, and those stickies should lock it in.
That's gonna be the big
secure,
one right there.
yeah.
No one else able to fight. Squid able to find the angle we've been waiting for. Gets that spam off into heaven.
I'm telling you, that angle is really good for the blue demo man, and that's gonna be the capture. Tied at 1 apiece. We didn't think they could do it, but good news have sent us to a 3rd round.
Indeed they have. I'm trying to...
Towns is in the chat. That's a Demo Man aficionado, if I've ever seen one, saying, yeah, Demo Man just spams that corner. That looks like a super good angle for blue demo. I think he should always be playing that.
Quite possibly, yeah. I'm trying to process what we just witnessed here as we move into the 3rd half. It's not as automatic on a new map like this, but I mean, we really haven't seen anything
Taters has
resembling a B or C
31 kills.
What
the hell? He's 31-7.
Oh my god.
What a performance. That's the most hard carry heavy performance I've seen in years.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, really, Taters 31-7, Squid 19-8. Just a pretty big combo diff, really. I mean, not even that Dastron did that poorly, just Taters in another universe. I mean, really, the frag's pretty heavily in their favor.
3 and 22. Can we extrapolate that up to 13 kills for him?
I mean, it'd be 12 and 88.
I think I would.
Yeah, Zach, but the miracle of that was how long it sustained.
Oh,
game. Yeah, definitely not boss's half for certain. I mean, really, 28 kills for the pick classes on Good News, 10 on the side of China National. But also, I think that is to be expected, right? When you get hard held on last.
Yeah,
kills are always going to be.
I'll be the first to tell you that if you are a spy and you get stuck, your team gets stuck pushing the same point over and over and over, and nothing's working for you, it will just chain to deaths. But that said, we are into round 3 here, and the teams are definitely going to take their time to talk about this because China National Good News need to win this match to stay in the running for playoffs. Basically, dropping a round already is going to hurt their odds when it comes to, like, if we do get the rock paper scissors going at the end of this one. Dropping this round is going to be real bad for their match point standings. That said, it still puts it in the realm of possibility, right?
Yeah, it would. So I think, do we want to theory craft what our ideal D push is then?
I'm telling you, it's going to be always Demo Man and heals, and engine, like, maybe not engineer actually. No, yeah, you want the level 3. Demo Man, medic, engineer, sniper, through main and like the A ramp. What do you call the A ramp for short? You just call it A ramp? AD, yeah. Demo Man, medic, engineer, sniper, scout probably through AD. 5 minimum. Spy can go wherever. And then you have soldier, heavy. I guess pyro can go either as well. Soldier heavy in the back. Treat this like apartments on steel, I guess.
Yeah.
Or apartments on Swiftwater, rather.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely need heavy in the back because you just need.
I don't think heavy does anything in the front. Yeah. I feel like Pyro can go back hall, honestly.
No, I agree. I mean, when I was playing this weekend, Pyro Ubers from behind were surprisingly effective.
Especially because the most common class that's going to be watching for the flank is Soldier, and Pyro hard counters that. So, yeah, I think Pyro can go flank. And then Spy can go there as well, call and get stabs on the people coming through. I think a 5-4 works out really well most of the time.
Yeah, because ultimately, like, 9 in one direction isn't going to work.
I definitely think Demo Man and heals through back is bad.
Probably. I think if you can get ad on offense, I think taking like a Pyro-led Uber through the back is definitely possible, though. Like a Pyro heavy, because then your heavy's able to kill their Pyro, and then your Pyro and then your Demo just walk in, and like they don't have anywhere to run. But again, that's dependent on getting that Uber ad. Sure, that's part of the reason why I love new maps, right? You know, none of this
you
stuff
actually
is
get to
figured
have
out.
these conversations, whereas we're not looking at upward for the same time, the same conversation for the 15th year in a row.
Yeah, it's fun to see. I mean, you're gonna see these kind of hard holds happen a lot more on new maps as well. I think it's okay to see those once in a while, right? I don't think having a map where, or even, what we've seen, having a map where getting hard held isn't necessarily the end of it, is nice to see as well. Adds, gives some kind of variance in terms of, it's not just, oh, who caps faster, but does bring in the question, can you cap at all?
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that we saw, Good News did their super good hold where they didn't let China National cap last, and we still don't know if they're actually going to be able to win because we need to see them actually cap a point for the first time.
He's like, you'll rarely get that on Swiftwater, but only once every few seasons, whereas way more likely on Nadal. I think, I'm not 100%, but I think Nadal just has less, like, overall potential time. You know what I mean? Like, just because it's 4 points, right? It means you can only cap 3 that give you time bonuses. So compared to like a steal, there's just less overall clock time that you have to work with.
That's just
you're gonna have shorter caps.
Yeah, that's just true from a map standpoint with less points, but I don't know. I feel like this is still very much in its infancy, obviously, right? And teams are gonna get a lot better at this and understand how to actually make points work. I think we've seen a lot of really interesting ideas. The one I liked most was the run your combo through Wishbone and then just wrap the defense through AD. That was really cool.
No, I really do think Good News came out swinging there. I thought that was a much better... was it Good News or was it China that did that?
Good News.
Okay.
That said, right, if the spy calls that you're doing that, all it takes one Pyro to stand at the top of that staircase and you're not getting through, so...
Well, the Pyro couldn't stand there because the Pyro rotated all the way the long way back into heaven to stop the decap.
Yeah, so like it's the type of thing where it's like there's so many different possibilities of what can happen. You have to be aware of them. Where like if you are the Pyro player there, right? You got to imagine that you have to wait for the calm on the commitment because the second that the defense commits to the D, that's when you rotate. But if you commit too early, then you are going to get caught out of position like that, and it opens up things like the AD wrap. So there's just so much to think about on a map.
What's playing into that too, though, is that I think part of the reason why we've seen some straight decaps is that if offense is contesting D from the AD area, I'd argue they're at a disadvantage, right? So they get the read that it's a full D push, they rotate everyone back through spawn into heaven to get the better angle, but then the rotation from D into A for offense is quicker than defenses. So long as offense is rotating effectively, if Red's going to go so far that they send their combo into heaven, I don't think you can stop that.
Yeah, so much to think about, and it's going to be a lot for these teams to do in a short amount of time because we are into round 3. Winner takes the map. It is a do or die for Good News' entire season here. Meanwhile, China can pretty much secure their playoffs with this one, so there's a lot on the line here for this Nadal round.
Yep, and the entire combo coming out onto D again right now we're seeing.
Yep, it is called by Boss. He's going to see this, so the question is, what is the reaction from China National here? They're kind of trying to rotate back into heaven, so they're going to do the heaven rotate again. We'll see if they're just going to get wrapped again.
Yeah, they've got people.
They're gonna
down.
wrap. Yep.
Yeah.
They're gonna get onto the sentry gun. Hard Hat gets sapped, and he does get the spy kill, but he's gonna die right after. So that's what I can see. Oh, look at this. Cats gets forced actually. Good heads up play by Minty to get the Uber out. In the meantime, defense gonna pop theirs as well. Boss goes down to Taters, and the defense gonna try to rush out here, stop this A cap. But like I said, they are just gonna kite this one out and see what they can do on the repush.
They're coming in now. Fish coming in over the top. 1 and 2 onto Cats. They're gonna get a couple kills in this, but far more in favor of the red team.
Big stab, huge
as
stab
I
on
said,
Zebra.
Yeah, Flu fighting Zebra is gonna potentially turn this one around. Eku's still alive, but the heal's not gonna needle him. You don't have the combat classes to fight. Spawns are coming up though. With this beam, it looks like they're gonna try to contest. They don't want to give this up for free.
Davies doing a lot of good work here, trying to take that space. Gaston gonna kill him in the meantime though, but that is enough time for them to cap it. So good news. They get their rotation and they will get the capture onto A. That's the fastest A cap we've seen so far.
Yeah, and I mean, really big bomb right there out of Davey. I think that stalled them long enough that they weren't able to peek out and actually contest that point. Gets them the cap over. A wrangled gunfight on D that DT's level 3 is going to win despite its low HP.
And MK dies to try. Yeah, MK dies to try and kill it, but he can't get it in time. So they're gonna get this level 3 wrangled into Wishbone here. Zebra gonna do his best to take it down, but DT keeps it up for now. It is gonna be a little bit of cap time, but the Uber Force is exactly what they wanted. Cats trying to kite it out, and they are safe out of there. So that's exactly what they wanted. Yep. And now they're gonna go B. They're playing this so well. This is not the team we saw in round 1, by the way.
Absolutely not perfect. Just, you know, flow with the map, right? Respond to the defense. Go for whatever is open. They get the Uber popped out. Now they can take that ad right into B. They're going to get it without a fight.
Yeah, Taters on this angle, not going to let anyone through. And that's B capped up for free with an Uber taken as well. So now they're going to look to go into C with full ad. It's about 50% ad. We could be trying to build this one as fast as they can, but let's see if it's enough to actually get a contest going.
Yep, and that with that gun up in heaven, it just says, you know, we're giving you C for free.
C, yeah.
He gets popped a little by the.
I don't know about giving it for free. Like, sure, you want to try and force Cats, but I guess they're just gonna assume they're gonna get their Uber and play Uber v Uber on D to start with.
What I think is interesting is that a lot of the way I've seen it, defense has tried to hold in Wishbone to get a better control over the map, and I think because people haven't solved the heaven hold yet, you're seeing them say, oh, we don't need to worry about fighting that, we can just hold heaven. But I don't think this heaven hold is as good as these teams.
I completely agree. I completely agree. I think this heaven hold is very counterable. Boss is going to get taken down, counter espionage by Flu on that Enforcer. I think he was trying to stab him but got knife melted. That's pretty funny. But look at this, Wellmart with an opening pick onto Scourge, and this gun is really far forward. I don't like that at all. It's just going to die.
Yep, Davey jumping in. They get some good damage, forces everyone back. Means that Whalemark can start working up on point, get some better angles.
Such a nuisance.
And Davey finds it!
What a good play by Davey there, flanking in with his dying breath to get the 2-rocket drop, and now full Uber ad for good news and Co here. They're going to get onto this point, and the sentry gun's already dead. There's really nothing stopping them.
I'd like to see them play a little bit further up here. You can get people to cross the point,
get
more aggro in.
Denied every backstab. Keeps all the players in that Uber alive. Level 1 up here from Hard Hat, but it's just dead. They're trying to get up and get some credits. They don't actually have much cap time because they did lose Dot Wet for the time being, but level 2 up from DT is going to buy them space.
Haters has entered heaven.
Yeah, and he's holding a ton of space too. Will end up jumping out of there. Keeps his life. That's a very important life to keep. In the meantime, Davey going to fight Fish here. Davey will get a lot of damage down. He wins it actually, and still alive. How is Davey alive? He's still getting damage out, but he will go down in the meantime. Cap time 3/4 done. It's nearly there. Taters on this pillar, a pillar of hope, going to be taking down players on the sides.
Good.
He will get flanked in the meantime, yeah, and there's going to be a lot of counter kills coming from the pick classes of China National to get them stabilized here just for the time being. It is enough, though, to give them some space.
I think, too, what you saw here was you saw them clear out of heaven successfully, but they played it too passively, right? You need to... Your cappers should be the furthest person back on your team. Get your medic forward on point, support your demo and your heavy, because really at this point they can only come out of the D shutter. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about like the two ways of them peeking the long way or the short way by drop down.
Look at this.
If you just fight them on the shutter.
Heavy soldier spy from flank. This is what I was talking about. I feel like if you're going to send a cell through here, this is the one. They're going to pick MK off on it. and they're just drawing so much pressure. There's 3 classes all staring at them, 4 to count the Pyro spy check in the area, so now there's a lot of space for Squid and Co to move up. Centric has to get pulled back from Arcat here. They will actually win an SVS this time. Wilmer going down, that buys them a lot of room, but DT with a Wrangler is just a nuisance. Couple kills going in favor of China, though, gonna buy them some space. As Boss getting killed by Cats, they don't know. Oh my god, what is that stab? That's a drop for Boss, and there's nothing that the side of Good News can do.
The 3-22 finds his revenge, comes back in, gets the razzle-dazzle off onto Cats, and this defense time is just gonna take longer and longer.
Yeah, we're singing Good News' praises for how well they played on the first 3 points, but the job's not done, and now their time is extending. It's not the end of the world for them, but you know, pretty soon you're going to be thinking that we should have had a much better chance of winning this round come their own defense. We'll see what they can salvage here. Currently at a huge Uber diss stat. Let's see if there's a sack play they want to try to make. Davey's going in. He's just going to kill MK.
Yep, gets the scout pick. Boss, though, just harmlessly walks through the combo, I guess. We'll get caught out now.
This should force an Uber in just a second here with the spy going down. Oh, yeah, spy going down. So down 2 plus their sentry gun. There should be a lot of angles coming through from Squid here. Taking some overheal, gonna be looking to spam some stickies up at Heaven. And Scourge will get taken down by Wellmart. Wellmart moving up to get an angle on Heaven here.
If Squid just keeps chucking stickies into the golden angle right now, he's
Yep.
clearing the gun out. They got the cap
Oh,
time.
they waited too long. They lost Zebra. With Minty dead as well, who could they even Uber?
It's gotta be a heavy Uber,
Just Uber's
probably.
an engineer. Engineer has to do it. Engineer scout Uber coming through. Gonna try to bomb the Cats, but Cats is moving so well. Milks that Uber keeps everyone alive, and they're getting so many kills on this collapse.
I feel like that's gotta be it right here, right? Boss gonna get chased out into Wishbone.
Yeah, I like this. Cats is playing
Yep.
forward, but they're taking a lot of damage. Cats is dead. They need a Pyro. American's gonna be crucial here. American has to stay alive, air blast them off, but the nuke from Zebra cleans that point off like a dinner plate, and we thought it was over. We thought there was no way, but China comes back and holds it.
Caster's curse. That had to be it, right? That had to be it.
They
Turns
got
out it
aggressive,
is
but they weren't holding the back hall, so they lost their medic and Devilman to the back hall.
Yeah, the whole point is that shutting them out from those 2 separate ways is too hard, so get aggressive and just fight them on the spawn shutter. You know, get stickies on it. All you need to do is just put pressure there, stall them, slowly back up, make sure they're taking damage as they do it. Get your heavy to play the off angle, and you're slowly getting capped on the whole way. If you don't play that well enough and let them get these multiple ways in, Davey, though, gonna come in trades with MJ.
Boss is playing the worst disguise I've ever seen. He just walks up and gets a stab with an anyway. He was just standing as the blue engineer in the open, like where everyone on red could see him, and he just walks up and gets the stab anyway. Look at this Boss versus Flu though on the side. Flu can stay invisible for now, and Uber almost had to buy Cats and Co. They are going to try and walk up here. Level 1 sentry gun, going to get killed for now. Davey, he's going to cross it again and go down. Gun dead though. Squid making some good damage in there. As Uber popped out now. Not yet actually. They're going to stall it, but they're losing players. Boss and Scourge going down from China National.
Yeah, I mean, they keep trying, you know, they keep trying to push the boulder up the hill, but it's so difficult when your capper's the most forward person.
Their health is so bad, they have to pop.
Haters just walked across with his fists out.
there's a
Capper's
pin!
to have a medic to the pin!
This one is chaotic to say the absolute least. Zebra back up, spamming some stickies down onto low ground. Squid and Dotwet gonna go down. By the way, if we were to be here for this entire D-hold, we got 5 more minutes, so I guess buckle in, guys. We're not done with this one by a long shot.
Quite so, as, we had to have gone through about half the time already right now, right?
Oh, yeah. God, this one could have been over like 2 separate times, and we're just gonna sit here. The cap time on D goes down so quickly, by the way. Like, if you lose a push, it's going back to 0, 100%.
Yeah, that feels a little bit mean. Because that is something you can control, right? Is how quickly that decays, I believe, and that feels like it decays very fast. As once again, Boulder starting to get pushed. Davey jumping into heaven. Good Rocket Zebra gonna get taken out. Davey managing to survive as well. Gun goes down next. Haters, unfortunately, going to
Uber
drop as
forced
the
out
Uber
here.
comes out.
Boss is in the backline though. They don't know. He's gonna try to revolver Cat's down. Can't quite get the kill. Cat's 1 HP. A 95 gets that Uber off just in time. Wilmore gets another snipe onto Scourge here, so they are gonna keep control of the point, but not having too much cap time quite yet. Will buy some time for the spawns from China National. They do have a lot of players in the back hall, including a sentry gun. They're waiting to get out there, but with no Uber, they gotta brave the front lines here.
I would have liked to have seen Squid move up there once you have all that space. Moving up to get
Zebra
better
is going
angles
nuts
on
with the
people,
damage.
yeah.
Kills everyone on that pillar. 4K from the sticky bombs. And like this cap time is just decaying. They don't have any space anymore. And with Wilmore going down, Scourge gonna be peeking in from the back hall. It's just too hard to get space. They need to find a way to close off this shutter area, because otherwise there's just too much room for Zebra to come back in and get the spam.
And that's the issue. They're not denying the spawns, right? Squid was doing something down.
Well, now they're trying.
There you go. This is what you gotta see. You gotta get multiple people in here, but they leave Cadence and ETF to drive. They're all gonna start going down.
Uber Force coming through. Davies in the back line, but they're trying to get the point cleared, and they will get all the side of good news off the point. Iku can't get into safety soon enough, and Wilmer gets the kill. Level 1 cleans up MK as well. Defense, they don't got much left, and with another player in the pit, just for good measure, surely now it's over?
For such a smaller pit than Steel, that's like
It's
harder to
playing
get
a lot
into.
more lives. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, finally. Oh, but both demos popping off the cap finally comes through. We have
11:30. That was 3:30. That was 3:30. That was an 8-minute last push.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
Oh, we did it. We saw the last cap.
I want to like propose a theory. The reason why we're seeing a ton of more people in the pit compared to Steel is that after playing Steel for 10 years, everyone's passive muscle memory is so good at strafing away from the pit that they just don't get air blasted or like walk into it. But we've seen so many people just fly into it because they don't know better right now.
Yeah, and what's crazy to me is that 11:30 doesn't feel unholdable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Chances of a like hard hold period, maybe.
Remains to be seen. We've got a good one here.
Someone guessed within 30 seconds of that. Someone just guessed that it would take 12 or 11 minutes to cap.
4, 3, 2.
We shall have to see. I wish I could give better analysis right now, but it's such uncharted territory.
There's so much random stuff happening that we don't even know if it's good or bad, but it's entertaining, I'll tell you that. So, gates drop on our last half of it all for this cast. Winner gets a very important match under their belt, so we'll see who can get this one out. Has to be an 11-minute hold for Good News & Co. We'll see if they can do it. They start up strong, take down the Scout and Heavy on this flanking squad, but it's all about what this offense wants to do, where China wants to take their Uber, and it looks like they didn't like Wishbone. They're just going to rotate back into spawn.
I think they were hoping to get a better angle, but Flu called them really early, and the red combo had already met them on D, rather than needing to kind of like go for the spawn rotates. They'll probably call it off.
And they made a good plan to hard hat though to kill his level 3 sentry gun, so not going to be able to have that one up anytime soon. We've seen him like putting that one on a rooftop. It's going to be Uber out of carpets here. They can see what they can do, but really good to know. But American doesn't get a flash in time, and they will drop their pyro. Davey dead as well means that they're losing a bit of manpower here. Repush coming out of China National, see what they can do, but Squid nukes them with the stickies, and there's Taters to get some more cleanup.
Gun is hurt, survives on a
alive.
sliver of health. Unfortunate for Boss right there. I'm surprised we haven't seen any sacks, because most of the scrims I've seen had decent sacks coming out here. Just because that window makes it so easy for jumping classes to come in at some very high and interesting angles.
I'm not gonna lie, it feels like that gun can be like further back on the slope, and it would be fine. Like, I don't get why the box is the default spot that everyone just decided is good.
It's the box, bro. What do you think the box is there for, if not to put the gun on?
Because, like, this can happen, right? They won't kill the Fish just in time. But Fish has, like, he got a drop on the med there in the first round, I think. So, when the gun's back that far, it does open up that possibility. But in the meantime, Scourge looking forward, see if he can find a pick. Saffron to the gun is going to make it go down in just a second here. Zebra going to walk on a point, spam players on this box area. But it does look like China have a lot of space to work with. Let's see what this Uber can do from Cats. 97, 30 HP. Cats, can she survive? No, get 4 HP. Gets the Uber up just in time.
Really clutch, managing to get that one out. Cats goes down there. You have to imagine this point is done for, but instead still comfortably being held right now by Good News. And
That was
Davies
the
gonna find
finest
you anyway.
margins Yeah, I don't know how Davey got Echo in the spawn with a fadeaway rocket. That was crazy, but yeah, Cat's getting that one just in time is going to let Good News hold this for longer, and hold it for longer they do need to do. Still 9 minutes on that clock.
Indeed they will. Yeah, at least you know you have quite a lot of time to work with right now if you're China National. But again, as we said, not necessarily a guaranteed win with how defensively this map has been going.
Yeah, sap onto the gun again. DT gonna try and salvage it, but can't get that sapper off in time, and see what Zebra can do here. There is some time onto D coming through, it's just a scout, I believe. Taken down in the meantime. MK gonna lose that one out to Dot Wet. And with Scourge dead, there's a lot of room for defensive sniper, Wellmark to look into this Carpets area. Zebra trying to get some angles out here, but they're just gonna have to go back and wait for Uber. Cat's up on 100, Iku only on 60, so this would be a good time for a sack, you know, but it doesn't look like they are in position to do it.
Again, remains to be seen. Complete lack of deep pressure has been interesting. Dotwet is quite just sitting in heaven, removed from the game. I think just keeping an eye on Wishbone, making sure that anyone coming gets called. I think MK is starting to go over, get Fish and Scourge there as well. Probably realize maybe some deep pressure could be exactly what they need, even if it's not a full flank.
Yep, but the Carpets Uber about to come out here from China National, see what they can do. Sentry Gun, though, doesn't have a sapper on it, so it's not even going to take damage in this Uber. DT keeping that one nice and healthy. MK going to go down, but Dawet is traded, so neither team having a scout for now. Flu's dead, but Taters on the backline gets taken down, but not before he trades with Fish, so both teams losing a lot of players. In the meantime, though, we see Duston has high ground on
Scourge
A here.
from behind finds Cats! Oh, the full flank around! Gets real right back! Before finally getting wrangled, Scourge the Madman goes all the way, finds the med and the sniper.
Problem is that Iku didn't actually get much building going, so the Uber charges are even, actually, right now for both teams, as even though Scourge got those kills, it actually just does nothing. Nothing
That was
changed.
a really fast spawn for Cats.
Yeah, nothing changed in the course of this game here. Boss gonna try and cloak through, goes on the high ground, but just seen out by the flames, can't even get the sapper on the gun, and you know, Hardhat's dead, Boss is dead, they're gonna shuffle through this choke point area, but they're just taking so much damage. Fish goes down to the stickies, Squid on a 6k, Blue dead as well, we'll see what they can do, but it looks like they can't continue to pressure here. There's just no room for China.
Exactly, yeah, and I think part of it is, you know, you were talking about this gun. When it's this far back, it's just so hard for the offense to get onto. It means there's always something to fall back. And suddenly that 11.5 minute time is looking really short. There's a minute less.
We're about halfway through, and China National is not anywhere closer to actually making it across the finish line. So, you know, if you are Good News here, you just want to keep doing exactly this. In the meantime, 100% Uber for Iku once again. Another Carpets Uber. Boss is dead though, so no sapper once more. But DT doesn't get the Wrangler on in time, and it will go down this time.
Something to note too is that so long as they've got deep halftime on the point, that overtime will continue to go on. So it's not like this decap time is splitting efforts successfully. That's
Dawet's
coming in, they clean up the flank right there. But is that enough for the offense to get in on A? It is not. Wilmart finding two. Davey gonna find Dastro. And with only 10 seconds left, we might see another.
There's a blue heavy corpse on the roof. Dolphin, the blue heavy corpse on the roof. 10 seconds. They're not gonna get to this time, by the way. Yeah, on A. It's over. It's done.
That's the hard hold. Two separate hard holds from each team coming in. And it's gonna be after that first half, we thought Good News were dead in the water. They come back and pull this out 2-1.
What a wild game. Who would have seen this one coming? Dude, you mentioned like teams were getting better at putting like three. What do you mean a 5-minute time? What are these 5-minute time you're speaking of? Are they in the room with us? I promise. These teams capped on. These teams can't even cap.
It was really simple. We ran a sack on A and then got a force and then won the Uber. And then we played the rest of the map. That was it.
I can count the amount of times we saw the B and C points on one hand. Total.
How many times did we see a sack onto A?
Like once.
And what did it do?
It got the force and then they pushed back in and won A.
Well, but also one got the drop in 2 rockets. I mean, and then they failed the push anyway. But that to me feels like a strategy issue, not a map issue. I don't know, man.
I do not want to see bosses combine KDA for the match.
Oh, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, what a wild one. That was a crazy game. I got a lot of insights about Nidal. Like, I feel like I understand this map enough to appreciate what we have here. Because, like, some people are just naturally going to be averse to change, right? Some people might genuinely think the map just has no chance of being better than Steel, right? I think this was fun, and I think that there's a lot of things that teams can do to actually get good at this map. I think that no one is good at this map right now, in all likelihood. So I think there's a lot of improvement that's going to come. And if a team can break this out in playoffs and make some waves, I'd be happy.
That's another thing personally I love about new maps, right? Is how much it messes with the playoffs BO3, right? Where people are gonna say, oh well, now I have to ban this map. It's like it's in the season for a reason, right? If you chose to not get good at it, then like that's a cowardly move on your end. You're not noble because you refuse to change. I mean, I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but I think that this is good, right? I think there's going to be a learning curve on here, and people are going to need to get used to that. They're going to have to, invent things. I think we kind of saw it over the course of that, right? Like, the demo men learning about how to get better spam into heaven.
And what had previously been them failing to get any cap time, then turned into them getting cap time and still failing to cap the point for other reasons. But,
Yeah,
baby steps.
On the point of like Delman learning that like which angles are good, I obviously don't know for a fact like how much these teams like played the map, whether it be individually or like as a team. What I can assume is that when it gets announced for the season, a couple teams may do some off-season scrims. Most of them probably don't want to because they're trying to, solve their new rosters, right? And they don't want to play a new map when they're trying to solve their new rosters. So then we get to this point in the season where once the season starts, no one scrims it because you're scrimming the map that's being played of the week. So then let's assume that all the teams coming together did not scrim Nidal at all. And then they're getting their first week of scrims now. They play Saturday, Sunday, right? And they get ready to play on Monday. If they weren't pugging the map, then these demo men have played the map 4 times, period. Leading into the match.
5 with pregame?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's not a lot there. I mean, I think that kind of plays into it too, though, right? Is the people who heard this, got excited about it, wanted to pug it ahead of them, had an idea about the layout before it, team leaders that had a couple scrims on this going into the week. Because, some of the teams I rang for, on Saturday, 8:30, they did not know anything about the map. They were loading onto it for the first time. And, that's a choice. Jacob said something in chat that people don't choose to be bad at this. And while that's true, you can choose to do scrims in preseason ahead of time. You can choose to load the map up and run around on it and learn all of the different, rotations. You can choose to, find ways of getting into the map test pug or run them yourselves. You can choose to sweat really hard this week and, really lab things out and really review and really try to theory craft things and try to make this new map into a strength. Or you can say, this map is cringe, load it up for the first time at Saturday, 8:30, and go into it assuming you're just going to auto-ban it through playoffs. Right? There's 2 separate approaches here, and it's hard for me to believe that the latter one where you call the map cringe is the better approach, if you're actually trying to win.
Yeah, well, that's a choice that teams will have to make coming into playoffs as well, because with that map out of the way, half the teams have won it, half the teams have lost it. Everyone knows what they think of it up to this point. So whether or not we see it come playoffs is up to those teams that make it there. Speaking of the teams that make it there, with this win, Good News have kept their playoff hopes alive. They will need to have a good rest of the season, plus likely get some help somewhere else to make up for the match point differential. But the playoff bubble 4th seed is still wide open.
I'm looking to see, because now what this does is China National, Warabi, and BBC are all sitting at 2 and 3, really, but it should be. Well, Warabi's sitting at 2 and 3, but I think they're about to get 2 losses the next 2 weeks. They play Dumb Kids in China National, so quite likely they go 0-2 there. But wait, will Robbie beat RR tonight?
So that makes RR 3-2 and Warabi 2-3. China National losing makes this. It's because China National loses tonight that RR dropping this map doesn't actually mean much for RR's season. Unless they have guaranteed losses coming.
RR plays... They play Sour Patch next week, and they play China National week 7.
Okay, so that week 7 matchup may be the difference between 3rd and 4th seed.
I think you're now looking at what had been 3 teams fighting for 1 seed is now 4 teams fighting for 2.
Yeah, I mean...
I think really here, the Magic... So Sour Patch and Dumb Kids are in. That's fine, right? I think you can really look and say that worst comp format's out. I don't think anyone's going to be too surprised by that. Who do Warabi play? They play China National and Dumb Kids. So I'm thinking that likely 4 wins is going to be what gets you into playoffs here, right? You've got a 7-0 team, you've got a 6-1 team. I think RR losing here means that they're unlikely to go. You're unlikely to see any 5-2 teams, and instead you're going to have 4-3 teams making it in. So I think Warabi, that would be a crazy upset over Dumb Kids that I just don't think is going to happen. As much as I love to see it, but
what if China and Good News lose out the season until week 7, and then in that Warabi versus China matchup, Warabi wins, meaning that a 3-4 team gets in playoffs?
It's possible. There's going to be a lot of permutations here we're not accounting for, but China plays Warabi next week. So assuming they win that, then that match with RR is going to mean a lot. Even BBC, right? Well, they lost tonight, but they have worse comp format in Sour Patch. It's going to be hard for them to get into.
Yeah, anything can happen. And like we're hoping on weeks with unpredictable maps, it does shake up the standings. 2 upsets tonight, that's more than you average see, so we at least got some of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to make playoffs a very interesting picture because a lot of matches that I think we thought weren't going to be meaningful suddenly mean a heck of a lot more than we expected when we were kind of scouting things out at the beginning of the season. So, because, yeah, I mean, as we said, right, I think 4 wins is probably going to be the magic number, but all it takes is, a Warabi getting an upset or someone dropping rounds somewhere, and, 3-win team could potentially slip in, so. And that's the other thing you gotta love about upset maps, right? Or new maps like this, they can really throw a wrench into your season.
Yeah, that said, that's gonna about do it for us. I mean, that was a lot more entertaining than it had a right to be, but that was a lot of fun, and I'm happy that at least the season is a lot more open-ended than when we came into it tonight.
Exactly, yeah. They really blew the fight for these seeds pretty wide open, so definitely not going to want to miss anything, but I think that's going to just about do it for us. Zag, any closing thoughts?
I think the map's pretty fun.
I would agree. Dolphin, we got any 6s this week? Wednesday, Sunday. Are those playoffs? 6s playoffs starting this week, Wednesday and Sunday. So those are your other days to check back in, but definitely come back in a week on next Monday. You're not going to want to miss the end of this season. Should be some great maps lined up, or matches lined up, and we've got Lakeside and Upward coming in. So some a little bit of stability after some of the chaos we've seen the past few weeks coming back in. So thank you for watching. Have a good night.